This is Trent and Jason from Thunder Underground doing a review on the brand new Metallica album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
That's right. We got a reaction video or audio right here.
Yeah, right here on YouTube at The Thunder Underground is our handle, so go subscribe. We've already got 3 reaction videos up for the first 3 singles, if you want to call them singles. Basically, everything off this album can be considered a single now, I guess.
Yeah, since they got videos for everything, just take your pick.
Yeah, today is November 17th. The album actually officially comes out tomorrow, November 18th. All 12 songs are now available via Metallica channel.
Yes.
So get on there if you haven't heard anything and you're interested, or if you want to wait till tomorrow. Like Jason said on our podcast, it's like Christmas morning for a Metallica fan.
And I ruined it.
Yeah, you ruined it for yourself.
Well, like I said, it was dangled in front of me. I couldn't help it.
Look at it like it's Hanukkah for Christmas for a Metallica fan.
That's right. That's a good way of putting it.
Get a song every day, whatever. Well, you've got the deluxe box set vinyl.
Right
because here. Let's just do a
in my hand
quick refresher. If you've never heard of us and you just clicked on this because you like Metallica, we're Thunder Underground. We've got a podcast. We've got a website. We've got almost 100 podcasts now, episodes. We've got a website with tons of reviews and stuff. Jason here, Metallica has been his favorite band since around 1989.
Yeah, I think so, 88, 89.
Yeah. And they've
came out, yeah.
I've been a big fan of them since the same time. So here we are, what's that, 27 years later. Album number 10 is out.
Yes.
Let's just start. We know you want to go track by track, or do you want to give a reaction as a whole to start with?
Well, that's kind of what my thing was, is, you ask me and I ask you just for a real quick overview, and then we can go track by track if you want. We can try to go, but we tried to cram all these songs in real quick because we knew we had to do this. So
yeah,
sometimes, it might get a little discombobulated, but we can do track by track as best we can.
Yeah, I've got about 2 or 3 of these new ones that I've heard twice.
Yeah.
And of course, the first 3 I've heard many times.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's about 6 of them that I've heard 1 time. So this is a pure reaction.
Yeah.
This is not an official review.
In a way, that's cool because we're getting just a quick reaction. So
yeah,
but like I said, I'll start with just on a whole, a quick overview. What did you think?
I will call this the great swindle of 2016.
Wow.
3 songs that made me feel like we're getting 80s Metallica.
Okay.
Then they hand it to us and they're like, guess what, fuckers? Here's 1 or 2 more that sound like that, and these other ones sound like 90s Metallica.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, there's not a problem with that, but I just thought it was funny because they came out the gate with the 3, probably 3 strongest songs.
Okay.
There's a couple other songs on here that are up on that level. And I'm not saying I dislike it. I just thought it was kind of funny because it kind of, when you get 3 tracks that sound a certain way, you kind of think that's how this whole thing is going to sound. But then as soon as you get into the first song you hadn't heard, which is Now That We're Dead, you're totally in a different place.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will say there's not a single song on here I don't like.
Of course.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying that I thought it was kind of funny. Like that.
Yeah. Well, that's your observation.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying. And like you said, there's nothing on here we don't like. Unlike, maybe, I don't know, Saint Anger or
right.
Half a Reload. But I mean, no, my first thought was, I think this was if this album came out after the Black Album, everything would have been okay.
Yeah.
Or people wouldn't, or even people wouldn't have had such a fucking cow,
right, like
they did back then, because this album really bridges the Black Album to the Load era, I think, in a way.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a way I could put it. I mean, I like it. I like all the songs. So far, I maybe just because it's so new, I like it better than Death Magnetic. It's got a little bit more character than Death Magnetic. Death Magnetic was just so like frantic thrash, turn everything up and just, clip the meters. And this had some different twists and turns, some different, feels and beats. So, I mean, this was definitely a little bit more of a diverse thing. But it's a good Metallica album with a lot of their signature sounds and a little bit of loadisms put in there.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of my first few thoughts.
Yeah, my instant reaction is that it's easily number 6 on the list of best Metallica albums.
Okay.
Like it jumps directly behind the first 5 albums, past Death Magnetic and Load and everything.
I agree. I agree with that. That's exactly right. I think you're right.
Like you said about Death Magnetic, I liked that album when it came out. I really liked it, but over time, when I got away from it, I don't care for it as much, if that makes sense. I mean, I like most of the songs, but there's only a couple of them that really jump out at me anymore that I'm like, oh, I want to hear that. You know, like I heard Broken, Beaten, Scarred today on Sirius, and I'm just like, the guitar sound is just weird to me. And of course, the lyrics on that are ridiculous. But anyway, the sound as a whole, like we've talked about on those other reaction videos, the sound on this is just way clearer and stronger than Death Magnetic was.
And it makes you, what if they did Death Magnetic sounding like Hardwired?
True.
It might have been a little better.
Yeah.
Know? But I mean,
but you could say that about Saint Anger too.
Oh, no shit. You could say that. Oh, yeah. You could say
if
that
you cleaned up the production and tightened up those songs like that one band did, then you would have a great, solid album.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, the first song on this thing, Hardwired, we've already done like a long reaction for. Click on our YouTube channel there and listen to that if you want. Just real quick going over it. That's the first song we heard. Everybody's heard it. It jumps out, pounds you. It's got that opening heavy ass riff and drums. It just harkens back to early Metallica. Short as hell. It's like the second shortest Metallica song ever. And, we were happy when we first heard it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great album opener song that I'm sure will be in their live set forever probably now. It's probably the one song from this that'll be constant, and I'm sure there'll be a couple other ones that might get in there. But
yeah, like I said, it's a good album. Like you said, it's a good album opener. And they could open a show with it maybe.
Yeah. There's 2 or 3 songs on here that have that sound that could really be a concert opener.
Oh, definitely.
And that, of course, is one of them. And then Atlas Rise, of course, we went into more detail about this because of the 3. That was both of ours favorites.
Yeah.
And after listening to everything once, it's still my favorite song on the album.
Nice.
It's, kind of might be unfair to say that because I've listened to it more than most of these other ones, but there was nothing that I heard from the other songs that made me think it was better than Atlas Rise.
Yeah. Yeah. Atlas Rise was definitely, it had the whole anthem thing like we talked about in our action video for that. Of the 3 that got released previously, that's my favorite one. Yeah.
And I think it's the song that most, even with all the other ones on this album, that most harkens back to the 80s heyday of Metallica, especially the latter half of the song.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned in the reaction video, it has a lot of the new wave of British heavy metal feel to it.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
And it's just got that, to me, it had a lot of Ride the Lightning and a little, Justice for All mixed in there.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool, kind of harkens back to that, the era of Metallica that most people cling to,
That's right. That's right.
So then.
Now That We're Dead.
Yeah, this is the first.
That's when, the first curveball.
Yeah, the first song that we've heard, that this is a more instant reaction.
Yeah.
So what was your instant reaction?
At first, I liked the opening of it. I like how, it just kind of pulses, and then, Lars kind of does a roll on the toms. I thought that was really cool. You don't hear that a lot. I really dug that. I really, really liked the Kirk Hammett solo. It kind of reminded me of like Devil's Dance or something. He got a lot of those evil kind of wet bluesier tones that he had on Load. which I really liked, and I don't really give a fuck what anyone else thinks about it. I really dug it, and it was, that's a first song of the record that you start seeing a little bit more of the diversity. They let it breathe, a different attitude, and it's the first time you can kind of I kind of feel like I'm reminded of Load a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was the first one. I mean, I really liked it. First listen, I thought it was all right.
To me, that riff had a Black Album feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought Avenged Sevenfold would really like this song. Hail to the King.
Yeah.
This was exactly the type of thing that would have been on that album.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of those, it's kind of got a 2x4, sad but true, kind of swing, kind of a swagger. So yeah, I mean,
that mid-tempo heavy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the mid-tempo heavy.
Too bad this didn't come out in '95, so it could have been on the Smash Romeo and Juliet soundtrack.
See, there you go.
The lyrical content of it.
Yeah. Oh man, you're good. You're on your toes today, man.
Well, just go to the next song, which is Moth into Flame. Yet again, click on our YouTube channel here. We've got a full reaction video just for that song.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember when I first heard that, it surprised me because I don't really know what I was expecting after Hardwired, if I was expecting more stuff that sounded like that. Mm-hmm. But it was a little bit more expansive. It had that real 80s feel to it as well, like Atlas Rise.
Yes. But
still sounded like modern Metallica. And I love it. Yeah. I mean, without going into rehashing what we've already talked about in another video, but
yeah, I mean, it's got a great solo, a really cool twin guitar opening. Really, that's definitely a standout. And yeah, just go check out that video for the in-depth on that deal.
Yeah. Well, the next new one we're hearing here is Dream No More. Am I right? Am I going the right order? Yeah. Or no?
Am I Savage?
Oh, okay. Disc one on their page is Dream No More.
Really, it sure is. Well, on the vinyl here,
yeah,
is Am I Savage? Huh. Really, though,
who should we believe?
I know.
The official vinyl or the official Metallica.com?
Uh-oh. We found our first Easter egg, our first mistake.
Yeah. So that's
discrepancy.
Well, let's go with your vinyl then.
Okay. Am I Savage? Am I Savage? Kind of another.
Yes, I am. Sorry, I had to do it.
No, that's coming later.
Oh yeah, with confusion.
Yes, that's
we both
right.
knew it. Okay, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Am I Savage? Another just kind of a mid-tempo. It's got an evil kind of a brooding thing to that one.
Yeah, I need to listen to this again. I'm getting confused here. I'm looking at my notes, but I think that's the one that had sounded most like Load of anything.
Oh yeah, I think so.
And it's funny because I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Like I like a lot of Load, but it's obviously I would rather them sound like Master of Puppets,
of course,
or even the Black Album than I would them sound like Load. But yeah, this just has the best parts of Load. That's the thing with this album. All the stuff that reminds me of Load reminds me of the good parts of Load. It doesn't remind me of the stuff I didn't like.
Well, that's good.
So that's a good thing.
Thorn Within or some shit.
Yeah, Thorn Within or Until It Sleeps.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, next song.
But we didn't, yeah. I wouldn't say that's going to jump out as like 3 or 4 favorites off the album, but it's one of those songs that might grow on me down the line, and I really think it'd be cool to hear that live as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, what do you think of Halo on Fire?
This is my least favorite song of the 12.
I'm going to tell you something.
But
I don't remember dick of that song. I listened to it once, and I was like, man, today I was like, I need to get refreshed up on this shit, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it. So
then that means it's not memorable to you.
So you can take it on this one. I'm not going to be mad.
It was the same thing. It had a Load feel. At first, I'm like, I don't really care a whole lot for this, but as it, most of these songs are longer, 6-7 minutes long. It grew on me as it went. It got better. The second half of the song was better, but I still just of the 12 songs, it's the least impressive to me easily.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Which, like I said, down the line could change, but first reaction is that's the 12th best song on this album.
Nice, nice.
Okay,
So,
what's the next song on the list?
Confusion.
Okay.
And now we're to the beginning of the song, which it sounds like you and I both had the same kind of feel.
Yeah, I even had it written down.
It had felt like "Am I Evil?"
Yeah.
It was in that same, snare drum marchy kind of thing with the little lead thing. I mean, it really kind of went back to that style. That was that was a standout. That whole song. It's got some great riffage. I like the vocals. That was one that I won't be forgetting anytime soon.
Right.
You know?
Really cool intro. And I mean, the whole thing has an old school feel, but it sounds modern.
Yeah.
And it's another one that I could easily see them coming out the gate with live in their upcoming shows.
Yeah.
It just has that feel because of that intro, especially that I think it'll be in the live set sooner than later.
Yeah. And I really liked that video. Some of the videos I just didn't watch because it was just live or whatever, but I really liked that video. It was a PTSD thing, a soldier, and flashing back and forth between.
I'd read about that.
Yeah, her front lines and then her in the office, and I really liked that they used a female soldier instead of a male. Just because it's different. And I'm not a big video guy anyways, but that video really stuck out to me for some reason.
Cool. Well, yeah, I've only watched a couple of these videos. I'm going to probably go back later on and watch the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm the same way. I like videos here and there, but I'm not I prefer listening to something first before I watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What's the next track on the list?
Dream No More. And that's another sad but true King Nothing kind of mid-tempo kind of deal. Yeah,
King Nothing is kind of a vibe I got, but I like this song better than King Nothing after one listen, I think. And I don't dislike King Nothing. It's just this is a great song. It's got a real the riff's real dark, groovy, methodic, and then it's really damn cool.
Yeah. And that's one thing I want to say, now that you mentioned solos, sorry to cut you off. Throughout this whole thing, I really think I really enjoy Kirk Hammett's solos on this album. He's it's not always about being so fast. He's putting a lot of attitude. He's putting just soaked, heartfelt kind of stuff. And even if it's a song I don't really care for right off the bat, he's always got some good solos on this record that stood out to me more than anything so far.
And I know you've always said throughout time that your favorite Hammett solos are those kind of solos, like Unforgiven, the ones that aren't just like, here's a thrash solo for the sake of it being a thrash solo.
Exactly.
Say
like Unforgiven is a song we've all heard and they've played it a million times. We could probably go the rest of our fucking lives without hearing it, but his solo on that song is probably one of the best fucking guitar solos he's ever done.
Yeah.
And it just takes you to different levels and shit. And so I really enjoyed hearing that on this record.
Well, it's cool that jumps out that way because you see that story in the past week where he did an interview and said that he felt left out of the writing process on this for some reason. And then
so he just jumped into
and just focused on his solos, which maybe that's a good thing. I mean, because if it's that noticeable that all the solos are great. Yeah. If he really focused on that, the other guys focused on the music, then hey, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. He said he feels like he can play anything now, just after kind of, he sobered up and he just, delved into his instrument more. And you can really fucking hear it on this record.
Yeah. Well, another thing about Dream No More is the vocals are. Yes. He's doing something a little bit different.
Yeah.
He did different stuff on Load and Reload, but I don't really know what to call it. I like it.
Yeah.
Which
he does like a high part and then he kind of does like almost like a talking part.
Yeah.
Under it. And that's just kind of a different, and that's what I've noticed. sometimes he's singing kind of higher, it seems, lately. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, Hetfield's, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But maybe he's just he's at an age, or he's at a certain point where he's just finding a different way to use his voice, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before. His voice is the one thing that truly keeps them newer stuff from sounding like old school Metallica.
Yeah.
Because even if a riff or a song sounds like 80s Metallica, his voice kind of pulls it away from that. And maybe that's a good thing, because you don't want the same repetitive stuff. I'm sure most people would rather them sound like Ride the Lightning than what they sound like now. But this is, I mean, overall, I think this is as good as you could ask for from a band like that, and a guy like this that's getting old.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously his voice kind of shifted a long time ago, 20 years ago or more. But yeah, I have no complaints about it. It's just an observation. Right?
Yeah, it's just the kind of the evolution of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next track?
Man Unkind.
Man Unkind. Was that the black metal video?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and it's what I read is the director Jonas Ackerland, he's actually directing the Mayhem movie.
Oh, really?
And that was the 4 guys in that video were the 4 guys in the band in the movie.
Okay. Are they making an actual movie?
Yeah,
not a documentary?
No, it's a fucking movie about it. Yeah, an actual movie. And so I don't know what correlation that has to the song. Who knows how they come up with that? I wonder if it'll end up
in the movie.
Yeah, maybe it will. But I mean,
because I know they're Mayhem fans, right? So
yeah, I mean, take away that video. I really like that song. It's got a really cool riff. It's kind of got an old school metal feel. Not so much thrash to me as I just kind of got an old school, like a European metal kind of gallop kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a real dark, heavy kind of stomp to that riff and everything about it. And that's what they were, if they had this, I don't know if you never know, sometimes stuff's written, if it was written for the movie, that makes perfect sense, that it's got that sound. But if they just took this and that's the song he decided to direct and use for it, that's, I guess, a coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah. And
maybe you can ask James when he's on our podcast.
Oh yeah, on episode 100. Mm-hmm.
I think it's 150 now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Giving us a little cushion.
Yeah. A little time to work on it, huh?
Right. All right. What's our next song?
Here Comes Revenge.
Comes Revenge.
It was pretty, the chorus was pretty hooky.
Yeah.
I can still hear it, so that stuck out to me at first.
I think my initial reaction listening to it is musically, it might be my favorite song behind Atlas Rise.
Nice.
I mean, I think we haven't got to everything yet. Probably it's got an 80s feel to it, more so than some of these songs do that have the 90s, like you said, the black load kind of bridge. This has more of an 80s feel, but it's got that chorus, like you said, and it's a good song.
Yeah, definitely.
So is Murder One next?
Murder One, and that's the song about Lemmy.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought maybe it'd be a faster song.
Yeah, that's what I was. This was the one I was most anxious to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because you're curious about what way they're going to go with it.
Yeah, and it was more of a kind of a groove,
Yeah. Kind of like you just said about Man Unkind, it's got a classic metal sound to it.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is what you expect if you're doing a tribute to one of the icons of heavy metal.
Exactly.
But the one thing that jumped out at me about it is that musically and lyrically, it's an extremely good tribute song. And there's so many tribute songs that just don't hit the mark to me.
Yeah.
Which it's great that you write a tribute song. And one of my favorite artists of all time is Zakk Wylde. But In This River is just boring as hell to me.
Yeah.
It's easily one of the most boring pieces of work he's ever made.
He wrote that song before Dime even died. It turned into a Dime song.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, regardless. There you go. It's boring as hell.
But I know what you mean, because sometimes, people do this and it comes off a little cheesy.
Yeah.
And this did not do that. There's
several cheesy Dimebag tributes out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has a great, homage to it.
Yeah.
And I really like that there are points in it, especially in the in the riffing and stuff, that the bass is real deep and heavy.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
After thinking about it, it's probably intentional because Lemmy was a bass player.
Yeah. Well, you read the thing about how Rob Trujillo used his rig for that song, right?
No.
Murder One and the Rickenbacker and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got me.
I'm an asshole.
Well, it's good that Rob is kind of showcased there, and he's even more showcased in the next song.
Yes.
Which is Spit Out the Bone.
Yeah, talk about a fucking ball crusher.
That's what she said.
That
I had to say it after
said.
Spit Out the Bone, sorry. It's cheesy as fuck, but it had to be said. This is the heaviest song on the album, more so than the first, initial one's Hardwired was heavy and thrashy, but this one's even more so.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always mean that it's going to be the best song.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best songs.
Okay.
And it's the opening to it is classic Metallica.
Yeah.
That's what's great about it. And then when I heard the bass solo, I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Just in general, because it doesn't generally happen to Metallica song, and except for the obvious huge one. But that he was showcased there, and then it went into Kirk's solo that was, and it played off that bass solo, and then there's like 3 solos throughout the song from Kirk, and they're all like we talked about earlier, they're more frantic, but they're great at the same time.
Exactly.
So I mean, what were your thoughts on that outside of the fact that it's just a kick-ass heavy metal song?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to close out the album, and it's just the balls out that you want when you. That's going to be one they do live.
Yeah.
God, I hope. So it was a great way to wrap it up, and on the whole, pretty damn good album. Listen, not too bad.
Yeah, is it kind of obvious they book in the thing with the 2 heaviest songs, or the 2, I don't know, heaviest, 2 fastest songs?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and it kind of did that because you got Hardwired and Atlas Rise, and then you end with Spit Out the Bone, and like everything in between there, except maybe Moth and the Flame or Murder One, kind of went into that mid tempo Black and Load kind of groove that we talked about.
Yeah, they did a good job of just
it's kind of like this peak valley type thing,
exactly.
But it's not a valley in a bad way, just a valley in the sound of it.
Yeah, definitely. They sequenced it in a way that it would take you on a little journey.
Yeah. So they kind of covered, there were the Ride the Lightning and Justice points in some of those songs. There are obviously the new wave of British heavy metal sounds in some of them. There's, like we talked about, the Load sounds, the Black Album sounds. There's even a couple of things that kind of even sound like Death Magnetic. So they kind of encapsulated a lot of their career.
They really did.
In this thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good observation. And like I said, this is a good bridge from the Black Album to Load. I think if they would have came out with this after the Black Album, it wouldn't have pissed people off so bad, like I said. But in any case, it's a great album, and I agree with you. It's number 6, man.
Yeah. Do you think does it have the potential? 5? I don't know what your number 6 is, but
oh God,
if it's the Black Album, probably
put me on the spot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about that for a minute, really. I know that Kill 'Em All is my number 1, but I don't know. It depends. Time will tell. Really, you've got to give it time and see where it takes you and where it takes them. And so, I don't know. Ask me in a year or so, and I might be able to give you a better answer of like where this lies for me.
Right.
So we'll see.
Were you sad that there was not an Unforgiven 4?
I am not sad about that. I am very happy that has been put to rest. They should have been put to rest after the first one.
So you're not a fan of 2 or 3?
No, I'm not.
Not at all?
No.
Okay.
No, no.
So you don't wish you were at a live show when they would do the trilogy in a row for you?
No, they don't. They can do the first one. Second, third ones, they can just They can opt out of that.
Okay.
They can do whatever the fuck they want. They're Metallica.
Right.
But I mean, I'm just saying, if I wrote a fucking set list, those two wouldn't be on there. But we're getting off on a tangent now, Trent.
Hey, that's a good thing. I don't think you mentioned. I said Atlas Rise is probably my favorite song, followed by probably Murder One, or what else did I say? Here Comes Revenge, maybe. Yeah. What do you like? What jumps out? Can you name your favorite song?
Yeah, I think Unkind are really
okay.
They're really doing it for me right now. So those are my tops right now.
Thing on it you don't like, or did you? I guess Halo on Fire is the only one you don't remember.
I don't remember. I need to go listen to it again. I'm kind of showing my ass right now, but I don't really care. God, there's nothing that I hate on this record. There's nothing that,
right.
I mean, ask me that about Saint Anger and I'll be here for an hour telling you shit I don't like on that record. But I mean, that's a given. But this one, coming out pretty strong on this one.
Well, can you say where you think it's going to land as far as 2016? Because I know you've got 2 or 3 albums you think are up there at the top. Is this going to be at the top for you, or near the top? I mean,
it's definitely going to be near the top. I don't think anything is going to beat Anthrax's "For All Kings."
So after one listen, you're still putting "For All Kings" above this?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. And I told you I would.
Yeah.
So,
but I just figured that would change because it's Metallica.
No,
I mean, change for you.
They're my favorite band of all time.
Right.
But I mean, sorry, "For All Kings" this year is better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Deal with it.
Oh, I definitely agree. But I like Anthrax more than I like Metallica. So
that's just it's weird. It's just one of those things. I mean, I'm a huge fan, but I can also be, I can also put that aside and just see what's a better record.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, if you put like, worship music and Kill 'Em All in front of me, I'm probably going to listen to Kill 'Em All. But if you put worship music and Death Magnetic in front of me, probably going to listen to worship music.
Right.
So, and you know what? That could change tomorrow. That's the great part about being a fan.
Yeah. And as fans, you've always defended the Metallica that most people rip on. And, I do to an extent myself as well. I mean, I didn't back then. I used to talk shit. But even back then, I used to always say if this was a band I'd never heard of,
it'd be,
and Load was their first album, I think, man, this is one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah, exactly. And my issue with that era and what people thought about that wasn't, I mean, if you don't like something, you don't like it. Big deal, But I just couldn't stand how people were like, oh, they went alternative. They went alternative. No, you stupid lame fucks. They didn't go alternative. Don't look at the fucking haircuts and the crazy videos and the making out with each other. Listen to the goddamn songs. It's more of a exercise in blues and hard rock more than heavy metal. And, there was nothing alternative about any of it. Maybe Until It Sleeps a little bit. But I mean, it was more just a feel thing. Yeah. They didn't go alternative. They went, bluesier and maybe a tad southern here and there. And that's what aggravated me the most.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't like it, who gives a shit? That's great.
Right.
But I mean, don't be stupid about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, most people still just blow it off. And I think it's cool to see, what you see online on random form, comments on Facebook and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
There's always going to be haters.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's came back around a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know Death Magnetic helped that because it was back in the right direction, but I've seen a lot more excitement on this on a whole than I kind of expected, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because, I mean, say they lost a huge chunk of people once Load came out. I think a huge chunk of that amount of people are back now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And, because plus, if they're our age or whatever, they grew up and, you aren't as quick to just throw something off. You'll give something a shot.
Yeah, you get a little wiser and stuff.
Right.
And it's like this, and it's the same thing that's why they're on Hardwired to Self-Destruct. There's some stuff that really could fit on load, but they're not wearing fedoras and cutting their hair and smoking cigars and wearing fur coats and shit. So everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because if they had looked the same and still put out King Nothing and Bleeding Me, people would have fucking shit their pants.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking truth.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the bank.
Well, and the other funny thing is these same people that bitch about that era go see them live and then they're singing along to King Nothing or Fuel.
Yep, exactly.
So, what can you say? People are hypocrites.
Yep. People suck. But not you people out there, because you're listening to us and we love you.
You're awesome. We've got 96 podcast episodes now?
96 podcasts. We just did one with King.
Yeah.
Eddie Valise from King.
That's what I wanted to point out. Metallica's in 2017 going to hit the road heavy.
That's right.
It's always interesting to see who they pick for their openers.
Yeah.
Because the last few times they've toured heavy, they've picked some good metal bands.
Yeah.
Either some classic bands that, were never massive like COC or Down, or some up and coming bands. They did it with Lamb of God before they got huge.
Yeah.
And Gojira and that kind of thing. So it'd be kind of interesting to see who they pick next year. I think King would be an amazing pick.
It would be an amazing pick. I like what you're going, because what they did on Death Magnetic was they had like a kind of a big band in the middle slot and then a new band opening the show. And King would be perfect.
Yeah.
Really would. You hit the nail right on the head with that one, Trent.
And Battle Cross is another band that would be perfect because we know they like them.
Fest.
Yeah, they handpicked him for Orion Fest, so we know they like him. So
that's right.
That's a band that could, if they got in front of an audience like that, could really go to the next level, like Lamb of God or something. Hardcore. So I would love to see that for Battle Cross.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we've had the singer of Battle Cross on this podcast twice now.
Yes. And
they're coming here to Oklahoma in December, so you might see him again.
That's right.
And who else do we got? We got Insights, another kind of up-and-coming thrash band. It's Richie Cavalera, the son of Max Cavalera. Kick-ass band. We've had him on there twice. We just had on Ted from Death Angel, who would be another amazing pick to tour with Metallica.
That would be a perfect fit.
Yeah, it fits the mold. They're from the Bay Area as well, and classic thrash band that has new album out that is amazing.
Yep.
So check that out if you haven't.
We had Chris Broderick from Active Defiance and Megadeth.
Yes.
That was a good one. Go listen to that one.
And speaking of Megadeth, their new album this year is definitely a contender for the top. And we alluded to this on our last podcast, but we've got all the big four now have a new album out in the past year because Slayers came out, I think it was last September.
Yeah, late 2015.
So a little over a year. And I think that's probably the first time that's happened since the 90s. I don't know, it might have happened around St. Anger time. I don't remember what Slayer had out because that's whenever We've Come For Y'all came out.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Around 2004, whatever. But so that's kind of cool to see. And we've got, new albums from, Testament, Death Angel, and Exodus and Overkill that are great. So it's kind of a thrash resurgence.
Yeah.
It has been for a few years, I think, but it's just more evident in the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of thrash and Overkill, we had Sid Falk from the classic era of Overkill on here in a 2-part episode. That's a really cool one you need to check out.
Yes.
We had on Reed from Corrosion and Conformity, who's another band that's opened up for Metallica in the past. And if you've seen Some Kind of Monster, you know that Pepper Keenan even came in to try it for Metallica.
He almost was in Metallica.
Yeah. But fan, I'm kind of glad he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Because we got new COC coming.
I know. That's going to be badass.
Yeah. But as far as our podcast goes, we've also had on guys from Drowning Pool and Soil and Avatar. Who else? Great White and Warrant and Europe. We go that vein as well.
Yeah.
We've gone way out the box and had on guys like Shooter Jennings and Ian Moore. The list is endless. It's soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. That's where all of them are hosted. The website is thethunderunderground.com. There's lots of reviews up there for albums and independent albums as well. And then we're also on Facebook /TheThunderUnderground. Here on YouTube, subscribe. We've got, like we said, the 3 previous Metallica reactions. We've got also a reaction to the new Avenged Sevenfold album, The Stage.
Yes.
Which is kind of a return to classic Avenged form for them, I think.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I thought of Revenge and I thought of Mike Portnoy. And I was wanting to say that Lars' drumming on this kind of reminds me of Mike Portnoy, Mike Mangini.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to throw you for a loop and see if you could tell me to F myself.
That's Trent, not me. Send all the hate mail to him for that one.
Right. The hate mail can go to thethunderunderground@gmail.com. All right. Well, we appreciate you listening. Like I said, subscribe to this YouTube channel, get on our SoundCloud, listen to our podcast. And until next time.